The Canine Response Unit has changed my life because I get to go to places, you know, like the Pulse, like in Las Vegas. We go to Jefferson University in Philadelphia. We go to other places, Lourdes and Camden. We do a lot of things I would never think I would be doing, and making a change in people's lives by doing this type of work. My name is Kurt Merker. Before the Canine Unit, I was employed at a telecommunications company for 40 years. Once I retired, I wanted to do some other volunteer work. I wanted to give back. I realized that my dog, Tiberius, had a great temperament that I thought that it would be great to share his temperament with other people. Ty was adopted about 6 years ago. Ty's about 7 years old now. We got him when he was about a year old out of Burlington County Shelter. At the time, we were down to one dog, and he was a bull mastiff, 180 pounds, named Rudy, and he had some health issues later in life, and he was at the time blind. So we needed a special dog that could adapt to Rudy and take, more or less look after Rudy, which sounds bizarre, but that's what we tried to do with him. With the Tri-State Canine Response Unit, you have to have a special dog. Not all dogs can do this type of work. I was one of the first 5 or 6 dogs in the response team, and now there's like 40, 41 dogs in it. You have to have a special type dog with a special attitude and a special temperament, and that's rare to find in a dog. To have dogs that don't bark in public, that are totally acceptable of everybody else, kind dogs, dogs that interact well with people, that doesn't happen all the time, and for our organization to have 40 dogs like that, that's pretty exceptional.
I know I'm not an ordinary 10-year-old kid. I mean, sure, I do ordinary things. I eat ice cream, I ride my bike, I play ball, I have an Xbox. Stuff like that makes me ordinary.
When I see the kids interact with Ty at the schools, it makes me feel proud that I have a dog like Ty. Ty feeds off people's emotions, so he enjoys the visits.
The best part about joining the Tri-State Canine Unit has really been watching the interaction with the people and the dogs, how it changes their attitude, lifts their spirits.
The kids love the dogs, and there are certain children there who don't react well to school. They have anxiety going to school. But when they see Ty getting out of the car and all, they might be in a playground, they'll yell, "Hey Ty, you know, Ty's here."
They're active, they're lively. It just brings something, changes the dynamics of the room.
And like they just like come lay down with you, and like they like come right up next to you, and like when they read, they like when you read, they just like sort of like lay on you and stuff. It's really cool.
But at the end of the year last year, the teachers asked the students to write notes to thank the animals for coming, the dogs for coming.
Thank you for bringing the dogs to school. Some days it is hard for me to come to school, but when I know Ty is coming, it makes it easier. I used to not be a dog fan, but now I am. I love when Ty lays down on me and I can't get up. My favorite part about reading with the dogs is that if I'm having a bad morning, then I will read with the dogs. It makes me feel so much better. All the dogs are so cute, I have to keep switching from dog to dog. I also love when they do tricks.
The best part to me is that it just makes me feel like happy, and like I just love dogs, so it just like makes me feel like a lot more comfortable.
Helps them to make it through when the dogs come and visit with them. It just seems to make a big difference to a lot of them, and I think I was surprised in the letters just how many kids actually feel that way, that it's hard for them to come to school.
An active shooter situation on the Las Vegas Strip.
There's breaking news at this hour from Orlando, where there are reports of a shooting at a nightclub in that city.
A volley of gunshots in the night, carnage mounting inside, the injured on the ground outside.
I decided to go to Vegas because I thought that we could actually give some emotional support to the people out there to make them feel better about themselves, about the situation that they were out there, to try and take their mind off what was going on out there at the time. There were so many people who were affected by that tragedy out there that as soon as we left the room, we were meeting people. People wanting to ask what we're doing there, wanting to talk to the dogs, interacting with us about the events that happened. One of the hardest moments had to be when we visited the 58 Cross Memorial, because that was a site where you had a lot of family and friends who would stay there during the day and go to the cross of their loved one. That was all memorialized. A gentleman had a prayer tent set up at one end. He noticed the dogs, noticed Ty in particular, and he came over. Ty went to him and he sat down, and of course Ty goes and sits in his lap. He just broke down crying. He was emotional about the dogs coming over and sitting with him. We interacted with this family at Mandalay Bay, and they had a couple small children and this one small child. He was just in awe of the dogs, and he would grab the dogs and hug them and kiss the dogs. And I mean, obviously he wasn't there knowing what tragedy had occurred, but he made such an impact on all of us there and the people who were watching him, that he was such a kind child and just such a loving child that we saw out there. I remember this young lady. She came up to the dog and she started hugging him, and then she started crying. She was just so happy that we went out there to give them the emotional support that they needed. And we tried to defuse that a little bit and try and make them feel a little bit better about themselves. The most rewarding experience was being asked on both times to deploy, once to Orlando and once to Las Vegas. I mean, the group has 41 dogs, and any of those dogs could certainly go and represent Tri-State, but they selected Ty, so I was very proud of that, and to be selected twice, it was pretty overwhelming. Why do I do it? I do it because once you retire, I think a lot of people feel they have to give back, or not have to, but want to give back. I belonged to a food bank for 10 years, and I would work there, volunteer there, but it wasn't, I didn't feel the satisfaction that I feel handling Ty and Gus. At the food bank, it was more like a job rather than a calling to do this type of work. So once I got Ty and I saw the kind of dog he was, I got more and more involved with this and less involved with the food bank. The food bank got to be, I was doing it as a favor to a friend of mine, not because it's something I had a passion for. So, but I do have a passion for sharing my dogs with others. What Tri-State has done for me personally has given me a lot more friendships. People who are dog people, you kind of like migrate to each other, but you don't. But it's not in an organized fashion, whereas this is in an organized fashion. You go and you meet people, and you're glad to see everybody. You're glad to see the people, you're glad to see the dogs. It's very much like a family, and it's a family that likes to try and help people.
Being part of Tri-State Canine Response Team, it's opened my eyes to what many people are going through that you're not even aware of. And it makes me feel good, gives me a good feeling to know that we can contribute in even a small way to helping them to move on.
To see the success that Tri-State has had means a lot to me, because I was on the ground floor with them, and I tried to do what I could to help the organization. I tried to make a lot of visits. I try to help out in any way I can.
I feel like I'm getting so much out of it. When I walk away, I feel like I've done something, like I've helped somebody. So it's probably a little bit selfish, and maybe if other people who don't bother to do anything tried it, they would see what a difference it makes in their own lives.
I'm going to continue working for the Canine Unit as long as I can. It's a fabulous organization, and we're becoming much more well-known in the 2 years that we've been in existence. We are really reaching out, and as you can tell, across the country, and many more people are coming to know us than what has in the past. I realize that Ty's 7 years old now, He's not going to be able to do this work forever. I mean, he still acts very young. He's still full of energy, but there's going to be a time when he's going to have to retire. But I don't plan on retiring from the K9 unit. That's one reason why I have Gus. Gus is a 1.5 year old German Shepherd mix, and so he's going to carry on where Ty left off. So I plan on doing this as long as I possibly can.